Happy Monday, everybody, and welcome to a live, fresh edition of Dodgers Territory. I am not in prison. This is my stepdaughter's bedroom. Our office is being repainted. We will be back to normal on Thursday. Alanna, Rizzo, Clint, Pasillas, your host for the next 30 minutes here on Dodgers Territory. Big things to get to, Clint. Again, before we get to the big ticket, rate us 5 stars, like, subscribe, all the things. A lot to get to. Talking about Roki Sasaki, so let's get to the big ticket.
Let's do it.
Moment we've all been waiting for, Clint, because I think Roki Sasaki has kind of been in the proverbial, bubble wrap, if you will, kind of making sure that he's okay. This is going to be his first Cactus League action, if you will. It's going to be tomorrow against the Reds. Sonia Chen, who covers the Dodgers with MLB.com, tweeting out that he's going to make his Cactus League debut tomorrow per manager Dave Roberts. Yoshinobu Yamamoto will go about 4 innings. He's going to start, and then Sasaki's going to follow about 3 to 4 innings. Now, this could very well be the 1-2 punch, Clint, that we see in the Tokyo series, although the Dodgers have not said that they've named an official starter for Game 2, but I would not be surprised if it was Sasaki. What are you hoping to see from him?
We want to see him come out of his 3 or 4 innings healthy. We want to see him strike some dudes out. We want to see all the hype actually on an A game on the big field at Camelback Ranch. This is going to be exciting. This is something, again, we've been wanting to see. We've been waiting to see. They've kind of hidden Roki a little bit, putting him in some controlled situations, which I don't hate. It's perfectly fine. And if it's all part of the buildup, if they use what they learned with Yamamoto last year, of course, similar but very different pitchers in how they're coming to the States and all that kind of stuff. But if they learned that maybe giving Yamamoto a little bit more time out of the big, the bright lights, the spotlight or whatever, and letting Roki kind of assimilate to the different baseball, the mound, all the pomp and circumstance of being here, I'm all for it. I'm looking forward to seeing Roki. What are you trying to see out of the kid in his Cactus League debut?
I think the biggest thing is how he does handle that uncontrolled environment. We've talked about him going into the pitching lab, him being, kind of coddled, if you will, just trying to make sure, understandably so, making sure he gets used to everything that is required of him at the big league level, different baseball, different culture, different things, different attention, different those types of things. I'm looking forward to seeing if he can take all of the hype and just kind of quiet the noise, Clint, quiet it down. Remember when he was throwing his first bullpen session? Remember when he was facing hitters in Cactus League and every single pair of eyeballs, within 100-mile radius of Camelback Ranch was on Roki Sasaki. And that was just kind of stuff he was doing in a bullpen or in the backfields or wherever it was there at Camelback Ranch. Imagine now getting on the mound against the Cincinnati Reds for the first time in an uncontrolled environment and in a competitive situation where he very well, a couple weeks from now could be pitching where it actually matters in the win-loss column. So I'm excited to see how he handles it, but also kind of just in between the ears a little bit, quiet the noise, do what you do what got you to this level, and prove why you belong in this Dodgers starting rotation. By the way, he did not make the first round of cuts. Roki Sasaki still on the Dodgers roster, if you will. We'll get to that in just a little bit.
Yeah, there's your cuts right there. We'll touch on those in just a second. I want to finish one thought on this, and I want to get your opinion of, do you like Sasaki piggybacking off of Yamamoto for this start? Because it also just adds a little bit of familiarity. They've been teammates for in the World Baseball Classic for Samurai Japan. They're boys, they're buddies. I'm sure that has to make it also a little bit easier of a transition for Roki. What do you think?
I love it because I think that Roki, being younger and also being new to the major league level in the United States, I think he's going to heavily look upon and count upon Shohei Ohtani and Yoshinobu Yamamoto to show him the ropes, right? To show him the way. Like, follow their lead. You can't go wrong if you're following the lead of those two guys, obviously, who have time under their belt in the United States and with the Dodgers at the big league level. So I think, it behooves him, if you will, to take an old Jim Tracy line, the old Dodgers manager. It would behoove Roki Sasaki to listen and follow the lead of both Ohtani and Yamamoto. So I don't mind that he can follow, Yamamoto in the outing tomorrow. He's probably going to follow him in the outing in Tokyo. And what about that preview? Do you like that as far as the Tokyo series is concerned? Do you think this is the 1-2 punch that the Dodgers go with?
In some way, shape, or form. I mean, Dave Roberts has said, obviously we know confirmed Yamamoto is starting game 1 against the Cubs. Shota Imanaga. It's going to be a blast for everybody who's up that early in the morning, at least here on this side of the globe. But to have Sasaki following him, whether it is in some sort of piggyback role or if he is actually going to eventually be named the game 2 starter, we don't know. Tyler Glasnow has talked about that. He doesn't know where he's going to slot in. I'm sure Blake Snell, nobody really knows exactly game 2. The best case scenario is, they do get Sasaki in that game and everybody's happy. The baseball world feels good about seeing both these guys pitching back in their home country as big leaguers. But I think this is good. This is a good kind of dipping our toes into the water of what we can see in just a couple of weeks.
And it's probably pretty safe to say that Yamamoto and let's just go with Roki Sasaki will not be making, they won't be starting as far as the first couple of games back at home. And as far as U.S. soil is concerned, obviously, if they start in Tokyo. So it'll be good to have, I know maybe there's something to that too. Maybe it's something good for Sasaki to start in his home country, even though he's pitching at the big league level, different ball, different situation, different team. But there's a familiarity there of being back in Japan that I think will help him as well. All right, absolutely. Roster cuts. Roki Sasaki was a non-roster invite. A bullshit. Los Angeles Dodgers have made their first round of cuts. They've optioned right-handed pitcher Nick Frasso. They've reassigned right-handers Carlos Duran, Julian Fernandez, and Justin Jarvis, as well as outfielders Ryan Ward, Justin Dean, Zaire Hope, and Josue de Paula to minor league camp. The Dodgers still have, Clint, 59 players left in big league camp. So Alex Torres and the clubbies are like, good Lord, when can we make some other cuts? 59 boys in the clubhouse is a lot. Any surprises to you on this list?
No, honestly, I'm surprised they didn't make some cuts a little bit sooner, and I think that has to do with how the delay for Shohei Ohtani and Freddie Freeman, Will Smith, all 3 guys we're going to talk about in the second part of our show, but. They were in camp a little bit longer than I anticipated, but considering it is a shorter camp as they have to ramp up for Japan. But no shocks there. If anything, maybe I would have liked them to see a little bit more out of Nick Frasso, who's coming back from missing last year with a shoulder injury and surgery. But all in all, when you still have 50 more 9 dudes in camp, like getting through it, getting some guys out of there, clearing out that clubhouse and the auxiliary clubhouse on the big league side of thing, it's good. That's got to be good for everybody involved.
Yeah, it's funny because I remember being in the Dodgers clubhouse during spring training, and there's just no room. When you have 70 dudes in camp, there's just guys like the rookies are like 2-3 guys to a locker. Meanwhile, the veterans have, like, Clayton Kershaw would have 2 full lockers to himself, as he deserves, by the way. But then you'd have like these young kids that have it's like a clown car with like 50 clowns in a car at the circus. That's what the Dodgers clubhouse is like when they have 7. And there's like all these like makeshift lockers, of course, in the clubhouse for all these guys. So, it is what it is. It's part of the game. And listen, they can say they were part of a big league camp, and who knows where their career is going to take them. All right, we got a lot more to talk about as far as Freeman, Ohtani, Will Smith. But before we do that, back in a moment, we're going to hear from our boys on the foul territory side, Eric Kratz and Scott Braun on Arena Club.
Let's do it.
All right, FT fam, collectors, there is a new, better way to buy, sell, trade, or display your sports cards. It's called Arena Club. And Kratz, I know you love it. The FT fam's got to go to arenaclub.com/foul to sign up and get a little extra something I'll tell you about in a moment. But buying in the past was clunky.
It wasn't easy. But now you don't have to worry about any of the shipping. And it's all it's easy right there. It's guaranteed authentic too for me, so I don't have to worry about that.
Exactly. Arena Club uses blockchain technology to deliver your card immediately. There's no shipping delays. You don't lose your card in transit. There's no, oh, my dog ate the card and now you don't have it, so here's a different one instead. So right now, 20% off your first slab pack or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/foul. Use code FOUL. That's arenaclub.com/foul. Code FOUL for 20% off your first purchase.
right, it's now
Ding.
time for blue balls. And the good thing is that the guys are getting healthy. They're coming back. Reinforcements, we talked about it. People were freaking out because the Dodgers weren't performing well in the win-loss column in spring training. As AJ Pierzynski said on Foul Territory yesterday, spring training matters this much. Zero. Matters this much. Nobody cares about
Just
spring
stay
training.
healthy.
But the good news is Shohei Ohtani and Freddie Freeman, they looked really good. Big dogs are back. Clint Pasillas, the panic can stop. Shohei, home run in his first at-bat of spring. He just makes it look so damn easy. It's just awesome. It's awesome to see him get out there. I can't wait to see him on the mound. Tickets, by the way, for spring training games to see Shohei, we're going for like $165 as a single ticket because people want to see Shohei. They just think this is a guy that, oh, look at you with your little money maker button. How cute are you? So Dave Roberts had this to say about Shohei Ohtani in his return to the box as well as his rehab progression.
How encouraging has it been just seeing the power in his swing, obviously considering the shoulder surgery and obviously we know the elbow in your past?
It's he's just worked so hard. He's worked hard to kind of get back to where he needs to be, and just his work in the weight room, obviously in the training room, the rehab process, the surgery went well, and kind of from that point on, just gearing up for the season, he really hasn't missed a beat.
How close does he look to like where he was last year in the box for you right now?
I think given where we're at in spring training, I would not have thought he had surgery this offseason. Yeah, he's in a good spot.
Shohei in a good spot. That is what we want to hear. That is what this lineup needed to see. Some Shohei, some Freddie, even getting Will Smith in the lineup. It changes the complexion of the lineup, Alanna, when you have your big dogs in there, when you have the guys you pay big money to, like Shohei and his $2 million.
Yeah, no question about it. I mean, again, this is the lineup that you want to see. We'll probably have a full lineup. We hope to, obviously. Probably the first or second game prior to the Tokyo series. Obviously, they'll be raring to go in the exhibition series against the Angels prior to the actual regular season kicking off again on home soil. Resuming. But it's good to see Shohei with the home run, Freddie Freeman home runs in back-to-back days. He looks fine. He doesn't look like he doesn't look like he's dealing with any sort of rib issue or ankle issue or toenail issue or back issue or hair out of place issue or whatever it is that is ailing these guys. But it's awesome to see Shohei. It's awesome to see Freddie. And honestly, let's talk about something that I'm a little bit concerned about. And the only reason is like, I'm not obviously a medical professional, but Will Smith is back, and he recently, Clint, revealed that he sustained a bone bruise on his left ankle. Now, this was way back in last June in the series against the Yankees, and he's been dealing with that bone bruise, Bill Plunkett reporting, ever since. Says it bothers him most when running, not catching or hitting. But, as a catcher, you got to do a lot of, as a baseball player, you're running anyway. How long does it take for a bone bruise to heal? And how do you think that's impacted his offensive numbers? Even though it says it doesn't bother him while hitting, how do you think that's impacted him overall the last couple seasons? Or really just since last June, I guess.
Yeah. The second half of last season, and I had a whole diatribe on my All Dodgers channel. Guys, check it out. Subscribe. There's a few different ways I can go with this, but clearly it's affecting him. Will is saying he's not going to make any excuses. Dave Roberts said, yeah, I think you can look at that. You can kind of circle it as something that affected the swing. Will Smith had mentioned that he's worked in the offseason to refine and kind of get his swing mechanics back on track, because maybe there is some... You're compensating for that injury if you're not able to plant. I don't know if it's the left foot, right foot, whatever it is. There's something. Either foot is going to affect his left ankle. So that's his planting ankle if he's a right-handed swinger. So that's going to affect his swinging. That could affect his throws as well as a catcher. But this is another one. This is 2 spring trainings in a row where we're hearing after the fact about an injury that is affecting Will Smith or was affecting Will Smith the previous season, and he's coming off back-to-back down seasons by what we're used to. Now, back in the day, you used to have catchers that couldn't hit, and that's fine. But Will Smith kind of rose to a point where he was a cleanup hitter, a legitimate cleanup option for this team. So to not have that bat being what it was before, to not have him being a plus offensive player. It definitely changes the complexion of the lineup for this team. I'm hoping it's not too big of an issue, but they're saying the only way it can possibly heal is with rest. And if he's a dude who needs a little bit of rest, I'd be interested in seeing how the Dodgers can find a way to bake in some rest early in the season, knowing full well that at some point in time, Will's going to come back. He's going to take the reins as the catcher and be there, through the postseason and all of that. But I'm wondering if I know they aren't thinking this way. I don't think the organization is thinking this way, but I wonder if they should think about maybe pivoting to giving top prospect Dalton Rushing a little bit of play, for a couple of weeks. Give him some run, let Will kind of let that ankle calm down, this bone bruise calm down, and worry more about later in the season. He's not playing for anything. He's locked up for the rest of his life as a Dodger with that 10-year contract. So I'd rather have him feeling good, have the swing right, the body right, rather than force him to play another 120 games. I know I think that, a little worried though about a prospect.
I don't. Prospects are unproven talent, right? They're talent, but they're unproven. You just asked Jerry Hairston Jr. about that. He's like, you can have a high prospect, but all that means is unproven. And the thing I worry about too is it's like, okay, there has to be a good balance of making sure that Will Smith gets the rest so he can fully heal with this bone bruise situation, but also not give up so much behind the plate and offensively rather that, you're kind of digging yourself a hole early. I know it's a tired cliche. You can't win the pennant in April, but you can lose it. I have no doubt the Dodgers are going to make the postseason, all of those things. But it's a tricky little space to be where you're thinking about, all right, so you have Austin Barnes, obviously a veteran catcher, knows what he's doing, has a tremendous amount of experience, but the bat's not been there. It really has never been Austin's forte. He's a good receiver and a good catcher, but not the offensive numbers have not been amazing. Will Smith is more of a, he's a hitting catcher. And Dalton Rushing, sure, I want to give the kid a chance. But I guess better to give him a chance in April than really needing him in October. So, I'm interested to see, why should I not be sleeping on Dalton Rushing? Tell me why I should have more confidence in this young prospect.
The bat is pretty legit when you're looking at somebody like Dalton Rushing. And what I love about Dalton is that he's proven it past, some of the single A, high A levels. That's a big thing. He's done it at AAA. He's done it at AA. If anything, the catching game is still a little behind. Just because he hasn't done it at the big league level, and that's something the Dodgers are working on with him. They're having him come in. I really love this too, and I guess they did it a few years back with Will Smith as well. But having Dalton come in and kind of lead the charge when it comes to game planning and going through, hey, we're facing this team this week or today. How would you have the pitchers attack these hitters? And I love that idea, getting him more prepared for a big league game, for a big league style, like lifestyle that you would have as a major league catcher. But again, the bat, everything is ready about the bat. He's got some oppo power. He uses all fields. It's a pretty swing. The bat is ready to go. It's the rest of the game that's only going to get better as a big leaguer. So I would say just Google some Dalton Rushing highlights, and that'll definitely help you feel a little bit better. We also saw him get a base knock in a game over the weekend. He is somebody that he is ready to go. Dave Roberts has said he is ready to go. The bat, even Dave has said the bat is prime, ready for prime time now. He just needs an opportunity, and with Will there, he's going to be blocked for a little while. So this is one opportunity to see what you have at a big league level. Like, is it perfect? No, absolutely not. Again, you still want Will Smith to be the man for this team, but if you need to pivot, you need to change course a little bit to give Will Smith time to get right. As Dave Roberts also told reporters, it's one of those things Will's going to have to deal with. Maybe they can help him deal with it by giving him a little bit of a blow and getting Dalton in there to also work alongside Austin Barnes, who we know that's one of his great traits, is working with young catchers and getting him right. So again, will it happen? Probably not, but could it happen? Should it happen? I'm open to it.
All right, Will Smith missing a large chunk of time. Big deal? No big deal? Kind of a big deal.
Can we put a definition to large chunk of time? Are we talking a month?
4 to 6 weeks. A month to 6 weeks.
I mean, depending also when it happens, but the grand scheme of things, let's say it happens in April or in the middle of the season, it's not a big deal to me. As long as he's ready to go and available in September for this ball club and into October, because this is a dude who is he now has a proven track record. Been there, done that as a World Series champion 2 times over. This time he didn't get the catcher's job taken away from him like he did in 20 when Austin Barnes did such a great job with guys like Walker Buehler and that pitching staff to navigate them through the Braves and then eventually the Rays and all that. Will Smith has earned the opportunity to be in there, but he's also earned the opportunity to give himself some rest if it's going to help him get completely better. But this is where we're at as we cover this team. We get to complain and worry about things like this. It's Will's still going to be good. He's still going to be a plus offensive catcher, even with the injuries. And I'm hoping that the swing changes have alleviated some of the issues there. If he says he's fine, Will says he feels 100%. At some point, we have to believe him, I guess. But it seems like if they're also saying this bone bruise isn't going away, it's something where we might not be done having this conversation, especially if he gets off to a slow start.
Yeah, I think it's just so difficult with catchers because they're so involved in every single play of the game. I mean, obviously, Will Smith is good at getting runners out. He obviously has the bat, all of those things. So we'll see what happens with that. All right, Evan Phillips, let's talk about him for a hot second. A big piece of that Dodgers bullpen puzzle. Says that he's feeling super healthy. He feels good. This from Dave Vassay of AM 570 there in LA, of course, Dodger Talk host. Encouraging news for Dodgers super reliever Evan Phillips. Phillips has thrown 3 bullpens this spring. Quote, I'm very optimistic about the direction I'm heading. I feel fully healthy, just not built up. So, I mean, that makes sense, right? I mean, you've got to get to a certain point where you feel good in terms of the amount of bullets you have and how many innings you can go and how many pitches that you can throw. So, it's good, though. We want him healthy. He's a key piece to that puzzle.
Yeah, you got to have Evan in there. But again, this is another one of those situations, just coming off talking about Will Smith. You don't need him for day one. You don't need Evan Phillips for day one. You don't need him for month 1 or whatever it takes him to feel good, feel confident, feel healthy, feel that shoulder is healthy and able to take him through the brunt of the season. When you have some of these other rookies laying around, Ben Kasparius is probably all but a lock for the opening day roster. And Big Ben has looked good so far this spring training, coming off of making his major league debut last year. You have some dudes like Edgardo Henriquez, some kids that can fill in for a little while there and help out somebody like Evan Phillips and to another extent Michael Kopech. Let them get happy, let them get healthy, and let them go out there and let it eat when the time is right.
But this bullpen's so much better already to me than last year. Yeah. I mean, when you have Tanner Scott in there too, Kirby Yates is in there too, and we didn't have those guys last year, and they were the bullpen dogs. And I should never be confident about a bullpen because if you talk to Andrew Freeman, I swear, and you talk to any president of baseball ops, you talk to any general manager, it's the dang bullpen that keeps them up at night every single season. But for some reason, I feel like this bullpen in particular with Vesia, and just all the guys that we have, I just feel really good about this bullpen. So I'm okay with Evan Phillips taking the time that he needs, but I'm glad that he feels healthy. He's just got to get built up to the point where, he doesn't injure himself going out there and he can be who he needs to be. All right. Time now for the bullpen dogs transitioning to the other dogs. Last licks. This is the cutest segment of any podcast. I don't care who you are. All right, this is Max. Max is back with the Guidry's Guardian Foundation family. He's just about 15 months old, just a little over a year. He is a beautiful dog, as you guys can see, those of you that are watching us right now. We're looking for an adoptive family. It could be a single person. It could be a couple. It could be a family with older children, like probably high school age kids or no kids at all. So young kids, probably not the best fit for Max. We believe that he was abused by kids in his past life, and so young kids around him is not the best situation for success. So if you're interested in meeting Max, he is kind of like a border Aussie mix. We're waiting for the DNA results to be certain. He is beautiful and he's very smart. He knows a lot of commands. He's incredibly, incredibly bright. He is potty trained. He is leash trained. He's wonderful. So please, if you are interested in adding Max to your home, but it has to be a firm commitment. He's been bounced around way too many times and unfortunately failed by humans way too many times. So reach out about Max. We appreciate that very much. This shit was funny. The stuff between Dave Roberts and Shohei Ohtani, talk about a Dodgers clubhouse that has just good vibes. This is the face of the franchise. This is the face of Japanese baseball, maybe the face of American baseball. And Dave Roberts put about 500,000 little balls in his Porsche. And the picture of Dave laughing, ha ha ha. For those of you that are getting caught up on this, obviously Shohei pranked Dave first by parking a fake little tiny toy Porsche in Dave's manager spot at Camelback Ranch. Well, Dave said, you know what? I see you, Shohei, and I raise you 1 million little plastic balls in your real Porsche. But Clint, the real winner in all of this, because even Shohei said that they're now tied, the real winner of this prank, Clint, is my boy Decoy. Decoy now has all of the balls that were in his dad's Porsche. Now he gets to play with them. How fun is this club? Like, this is Shohei freaking Ohtani, and him and Dave Roberts are doing this.
You know what? They always talk about, culture and chemistry and all that. And winning builds chemistry, but also pranking each other builds chemistry. And then this is great. This is so wonderful right here. This video, just the bestest boy, the happiest boy playing with all of these damn what looks like ball pit balls or whatever. Yeah. I loved Shohei though with that whole thing. The way I'm gonna put it back on the screen. The way when all the balls start falling out of his car like that, like. Fuck.
He looks so defeated.
and then he told the Dodgers social media team, he told Sujo and all of them, like, how do you feel about that whole thing? He's like, it's a bit troublesome because they show the video afterwards of them picking all of these balls up in the parking lot at Camelback Ranch. So yeah, I mean, this is a dude who's just came back from missing the first couple of weeks of spring training as he's recovering from shoulder surgery, goes into a game, hits a dinger against his old team. He's feeling good, wants to go out, probably party after the game or eat or hang out with his dog.
I could really see Shohei partying. First of all, I guarantee you it was not Shohei Ohtani picking up the 458,000.
No, they showed him. There was video.
That was just for optics, Clint. I guarantee you.
So you're saying it's a lie?
I'm not saying it's a lie, but I don't think he's still there picking up plastic balls.
Yeah,
I guarantee you some of the other guys are picking up the balls. But Decoy is my favorite. By the way, before we get to what's coming up on your show, how about Yoshinobu Yamamoto telling John Hartung in the Sportsnet LA sit down that the reason he got his dog is because his mom worked at a veterinary clinic in Japan where he was growing up, and she really emphasized the importance of adoption. So when he came to the United States, he had some time, and his mom said, go to the shelter, and he adopted like a pity mix. Yep. And his dog plays with Decoy, who's not a rescue, by the way. But how freaking cool is that? How cool is that Yoshinobu Yamamoto, or excuse me, I think it was Roki Sasaki, actually. Who has the dog that's playing?
I know it's Yama. Both do. But it's Yama who has been bringing the dog to camp. Yeah.
I love it. It's so great. Adopt, don't shop. Oh my gosh, so cool. All right, what's coming up? I'm probably not talking about dogs. What's coming up on All Dodgers with Clint Pasillas?
I mean, I might talk about dogs. I was gone this weekend. I was camping. I had my dog with me. He had a good time, so maybe we'll talk about that. But we will be live tonight talking about all the latest out of Camelback Ranch. It's actually a day off for the Dodgers, so not too much going on. Camp was closed off to media, but we'll be catching up on all the things that have happened. Diving into, listen, it's earlier show. I don't have time to think about what's going on the channel, but just come around, hang on, hang out with us. 6 p.m. Pacific time is the planned time we will be live. Myself and I believe producer Kevin will be joining me, but we'll be talking about your Dodgers, taking a lot of comments and just kind of hanging out for a little bit. So tune in, subscribe there, subscribe here. Also, Dodgers territory. We are just a couple away from hitting the 9,000 subscriber mark here on the channel. So thank you guys so far for watching, hanging out with us, and subscribing, and of course sharing the channel with your mom, your grandma, and your mailman.
Yeah, we appreciate it very much. Clint and I will be back on Thursday with a brand new episode, and then he and I are headed to Arizona. We're going to be out there live for not only Dodgers territory, but foul territory at Dodgers camp on Monday the 10th. And then Clint and I have an exclusive sit-down with Dave Roberts Monday night. He is going to take us through all of the games, 5 games of the World Series, taking us through the mindset of a World Series champion manager, and telling us all why we're idiots, and he knows what he's doing. Thanks for being with us, you guys. Go Dodgers.
Bye.